Okay, so we are going to be looking at the box model, in CSS. Box model is very, very important. So in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to go to these. These are our index.html file. Where we'll stop. So I'm going to create a div. You normally put most things in div. All the things we created above, we are going to put them into div. So let's say we have this div and we say this is where we are. So it's a new div. So if I save now, if I get back to this place and I refresh this, I have this. This is where we are. So there's a div there, but we are not seeing the content of that div. So in order to make this div visible, I'm going to attach a class to it. So I'm going to attach a class and I'll call this class box. So we are going to style this box so that we'll see, we have a visual representation of what this div is all about. So I'm going to save this. Then I'll go to style. And you know, in order to style a class, we must say dot. And the name of the style is box. Then we can now style it up. So in styling this box, we are going to learn a whole lot of things. We are going to be learning about height. If you assign the height property to a CSS, we want to know the meaning. So we are going to be assigning the height of 100 pixels to this very box. So we will see now that this box will be longer. It will no longer be about the place where they have the... Okay, if I save this now and go here, you might not notice it. But this is where we have, this is where we are. So instead of this having the height of this is where we are, the height will increase more than this. So, but the height we are not seeing because there is no background. So we'll be able to see the height and everything. So let's go keep adding more properties here so that we can see this. So apart from the height of 100 pixels, we are going to be giving this the width. We're going to be giving it the width of also 100 pixels. Then apart from the width, I'll be giving it a padding so that you learn what a padding is. And the padding I'm going to be giving is a padding of 20 pixels. And I'm going to also be giving it a margin. I will show you what all these things are. I want to add them. Then I will show you what they are in box model. So I'm going to be giving it a margin of 50 pixels. And I'm going to be giving it a border so that you know where it started and ended. So border, make sure you spell your border right. So I'm going to be giving it a border of 10 pixels. And this border is going to be a solid border, which I'll explain what it means. And the color of the border will be black. So finally, I'm going to give it a background color so that you will see this when I test run it. So I'm going to give it a background color of red. Okay, so those are the properties of this box. So if I go back now, you see that now you have a box. You have this is where we are. You can see that this is where we are now. It's now inside a box. So this very black thing is the border. And you can see that the border, I gave it a border of 10 pixels and it's color black. Solid, if you say if it's not solid, then it will be broken. So this is black and 10 pixels. And that's why here we have these 10 pixels. So let me minimize this a little bit together with the code so that you'll be seeing the two of them side by side. So the code, I'm going to minimize this code. And I'll put the code here while I put this one this side.
It's very small like that from my end.
Okay, it's small on your end. So I should make it the other way.
Yes, because your own your view is showing bigger.
Okay, no problem.
As in your video, seeing your face is showing bigger.
Okay. So let me put it back. Okay. So this is the box model. You give it height, width, padding, margin, border, and border color. So these are the things we have there. So if you come here, this is the height. From here to here is the height. The width is from here to here. So this is 100 pixel and 100 pixel. Then the padding is the space between this writing, this, and the top of the border. So this red space here is the padding. Whereas the margin is the space between this very box and another element that is this table here. So this space here is the margin, 50 pixels. Whereas this space here is known as 20 pixels. And in order for you to demonstrate this very box model very well, I'm going to open the inspect so that you see this very box and see the way it is explained. So in that way you understand it better. So that when I say padding, you should know where I'm talking about padding. Padding is simply the container, space between the container and the content. Margin is the space between the border, outer border of the container and any other surrounding element. So this is the box model. So if I click on this very one, so this is the one we are looking at. If I click on it and say inspect, I will see this box model. So I can see we gave the margin of 50. You can see what is the margin. So margin now you can see is the space here, the space between here and the next element. Once your idea, you see it's colored. This margin, this is the border. You can see that the border is now colored. This is the padding. You can see the padding. As I'm clicking here, you're seeing it here. The one in gray color. If I'm here now, you see that the outside margin, that's the margin. This is the border. This is the padding. The space before the element, before the content. Whereas this is the content. So this is the content. The space between the content and the border is known as the padding. Whereas the space between the border and another element entirely is known as the margin. So this is what we call the box margin, the box model. So you can change the numbers of all these by simply going to here and be changing it. So let's say I want the padding to be bigger, it's 20 here. If I make it 50 so that the padding and the margin will be 50-50. If I come back here and refresh, okay, you can see now the padding is now 50 and the margin is also 50. So this is how you can be able to change this. You can even change what the value. You can use div to enclose any of these and give it this property. So let's take for instance now. This is a div for box. So if I come here inside this very one and I give this class, let's say I come here from this head one now. Let me give you another div here. So let me create a div. I will now create a div. Then inside this div, I'm going to give it a class of box. And you know I've already defined what box is. I give it a class of box. So I'll make sure I copy this ending and use it to enclose everything that is inside here, apart from this other div here. So this is the div I'm having. So I have everything enclosed in this div. So now, if I save this div is now housing everything. So I can select all these things inside here down to the end of before that ending div here. I can tab it over so that I can now establish that this div is actually covering everything here. So if I save this now, you know that this div has the class of box. So it will go and apply all these things that I've given it here. All these things that I've given it here. So if I get back to my page now, you see that everything is now inside this div. I think there's another div that I gave there that is making it not to look. Okay, it's the same thing. So this div is supposed to be down, but this one is supposed to be up. But you know that the content, the width and height is not enough. So for it to contain this, I need to like add more width and height to it so that it will be able to contain. So let's say for a normal screen, I think I have the width should be up to 1000 plus. So I say 1600. Whereas this one, I give it 800. If I save, then I go back to this one. I go back to the index. I make sure that I comment out this one so that it doesn't interfere with what I'm doing. If I save this back now and I go back, so you're going to notice that most things will be inside the div. So you can see now everything is now inside this div. So everything is now inside this div. So you can actually use that div and apply it. So the way you normally do it in a normal place would have been, the name of this div will be container, because that's the container containing everything. So I can change this to container as the name of the div. Then this one that I commented out before, I'm going to now leave it as box. So if I go back here now, what I'll simply do is that I'll copy this one, place it here, call this one container so that that one will remain as box. So this one is container, this one is box. So for this one that is box, I can leave it back to what it was before, which is height of 100 and width of 100. So if I save this, I make sure that nothing is red since the background is red. So let me change this one to yellow so that it will still be shown. So if I get back and test this back now, sorry, make sure it's named where this is container. And when I get here, this one is box and this one is container. Okay, so make sure you save it. If not, it will not affect well. So one is box, one is container. Okay, so this is the container now having everything. Whereas when you go down, you see the smaller box. Okay, so I'm going to let you to practice this box model, then we can continue.
All right, sir.
Okay.